Robert Clark, 1031.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been preceded tonight by some very eloquent speakers, and I hope I can continue in that vein. My name is Jonathan Mazza. I'm a resident of the town of Farmington, a recent honors graduate of the University of Connecticut, and a registered voter. I'm a native of Connecticut. I've lived here my entire life, and I'm a product of the Connecticut public school system. I'm also a lawful, responsible, and licensed gun owner. I come here today in strong opposition to a large portion of the proposed legislation, including but not limited to House Bill 5647 and Senate Bill number 122, 124, 161, and 504. These are bills which seek to limit the magazine capacity of firearms. First and foremost, I wish to be emphatically clear. The aforementioned proposals will not save any lives. These are not laws which will prevent tragedy, but instead those which have no effect but criminalizing peaceful, law-abiding citizens and limiting their ability to adequately defend themselves. In stark contrast to the unwavering message decaled on police cars across America, more legally minded individuals are well aware that law enforcement officers are neither legally bound nor obligated to quote-unquote protect and serve. In 1975, in the District of Columbia, 2 men broke into the residence of 3 women, sexually assaulting and sodomizing one of the roommates. The other 2 women in the home, hearing her screams, called the police and were assured that the police would be on their way. Meanwhile, the first roommate had finally stopped screaming. Assuming that the police had arrived and the situation was under control, the 2 women in question emerged from hiding. The 2 violent home intruders were not apprehended by the police, but rather had merely silenced their roommate. All 3 women were then kidnapped, raped, beaten, and made to submit to the sexual demands of their attackers for the next 14 hours. The police eventually arrived on the scene, knocked on the door, and hearing no response, decided to leave. When the women involved eventually sued the District of Columbia in the case Warren versus District of Columbia, 1981, a U.S. Court of Appeals ruled that the official police personnel and the government employing them are not generally liable to victims of criminal acts for failure to provide adequate police protection. This decision was further upheld and ratified by the Supreme Court in DeShaney versus Winnebago County Department of Social Services. This case is from 1989. It is abundantly clear that as far as the government of the United States is concerned, the protection of the people is no duty but our own. I urge you to think of a case which occurred just this month in Georgia. A woman had her home broken into and fled with her 2 young children into the attic of her home to hide from the intruder. With her, she carried a pistol. Not content to merely burglarize, the invader hunted the woman and her family through the home, and backed into a corner, she fired 6 rounds at her assailant before then fleeing with her family. This man, who was shot in the face 5 times, not only remained alive, but maintained the presence of mind to drive away from the scene. Had there been multiple assailants, such as in the Cheshire home invasion and the Pettit murders here in Connecticut, and had this woman's magazine capacity been limited to 7 or 10 rounds by law, it is likely that neither she nor her family would be alive today.